Every time now.
Awesome.
All right. So just to get us started, tell me your name, your title, and the name of your company.
Boss. Boss bitch. No. Erin Gallagher. I'm the owner and the only sole owner employee of Southern Hemp Tea Company, founded in Nashville, currently in Chicago, slowly taking over one city at a time.
I love that. So tell me about what brought you to starting your own company, because I know that's not a small decision to make.
You know what? I didn't know fully how big of a decision it was until as of late. Now that it's real, it's successful, it's a thing. We're going to Vegas next month. I always believed in it. When I first started this, like, I just believed, I had the fire in me. I know it sounds kind of whatever, but I just knew I had to do something, and it was during COVID. Mm-hmm. And I was getting paid a salary for my job still, but I wasn't being required to, work. I was at home, and I had this amazing opportunity, and I was just really inspired, like, just felt like CBD, I was already working with a company and I was watching what they did. And there was just a lot of things that I was observing, and it started to become like, I was just watching how they grew this business, and I'd always wanted my own business. And then when this whole gap of time showed up during COVID where I was home, I was like, let's go for it. And I was really particular about, like, the tea, the concept of tea. And I was thinking, what is a really cool product that we could reel people in with something that is more comfortable than, let's say, CBD flower or CBD mm-hmm. oil. There's a lot of skeptics around CBD products. And I said, all right, well, what is something that people already know and are comfortable with, Mm-hmm. Sorry, what little noise there.
Not a problem.
Tea is the number one most popular drink in the world. And mm-hmm. Is that too loud? I wonder if I should go inside.
You're fine. I have outside noise coming in as well. It'll mostly focus on our voices.
Okay, cool. So I just kind of went for it. I started researching, and I became obsessed with the perfect product. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to describe it. A lot of when people ask me, like, why or how did I do this? My answer is God. I don't know how these doors open to start a business, to find suppliers, to have an artist, to design labels. Like, I apparently just had all these networks in my life already, and it was like time to utilize them. And here we are. Now we've got bottled Southern Hemp Tea ready to go.
I love that. Yeah. Look at it.
So I know they're super cool. I love the labels. My buddy Ethan in Arizona designed these. Yeah. And they're glass too, which is nice. So.
Oh, like Snapple bottles.
Yep.
Nice. That's a
no plastic. Right.
No plastic. So it sounds like it was really just about the timing for you. You came across this and it struck a chord of inspiration. And then when you looked around, you really had a lot of the things and the tools that you needed to get started.
Yep, pretty much.
Wow.
So I was just fortunate that things just worked out. I really don't know how to describe it. It was really heaven sent for me. And because it was so easy, I started, during the process, I started realizing, like, this is meant to be. Like, I just felt it. I just mm-hmm. knew that I wasn't going to fail. I knew this is kind of my calling. I could just feel it. I don't know.
I love that. What if it's easy because it's meant to be?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So how has the last year been for you, getting everything started and brought up to this point?
You know what? It's been a lot of work. It has been a lot of work. I think that had I known what I was really signing up for, I think if I had thought that far ahead, like, can you do this? I would have psyched myself out. But the reality is I was just so freaking driven that every day and every night I was on my computer and just doing all the work. You know, a lot of it for me had to do with researching. I was really particular about how I wanted to build this brand, the kind of CBD products. I didn't do oils. Everyone's got a CBD oil. We don't need no more oil. And, you know, little by little, I started kind of forming like the store and different products. And so I used TGC Network from Colorado. I used Lavender Girl in Tennessee for our bath bombs. I used an Illinois company to get our CBD honey made for our honey sticks. And so it was just little by little, I was kind of integrating little parts. And before I knew it, like, there was a nice little kind of shop online for people. And the most fun I've had, though, is actually building the website. I was able to, it was a very customized website and I paid extra for that, but it was worth it. And, you know, the main goal for me has always been just creating the best user experience and the best experience for people trying. So my target audience was new people, like new to CBD. And so I tried to, I didn't want to throw too much science in, you know, whether it's on Instagram, on the website and stuff. But we're getting to a slow period right now. And it's like the weather, I think everything got, you know, warmer. And so that's why I was like, I got to launch these iced tea bottles. And so that's where we're at now. And it's going to be another headache to do. Reality is it's so many things go wrong, but you just keep going until you find, you know, your happy place, or, you know, the label, or, you know, there's just so many things that I'm constantly critiquing. I'm always critiquing and like, all right, what can we change? Do we need to change this? How do people like that? You know? So it's been a little slow, but it's cool because we're coming up to Vegas next month. And so that'll be a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned that you wanted something that was approachable with CBD, and tea is the most popular drink in the world. You mentioned that your target audience is people who haven't tried CBD before. So why is this demographic and making it approachable important to you?
Good question. I love this. I love this. So let's see. Let me find it starts with 18 years ago. I was 16 years old. And little did I know I was on my way to becoming an alcoholic. So I'm 10 years sober, coming up on 11. And I was diagnosed with anxiety disorder at 16. And I've been prone to anxiety, excuse me, my whole life. And I've struggled with it really bad, you know, and I had to dabble in medications and stuff, just like a lot of people. And then it got to a point where it was just like, I was getting socially anxious. I couldn't go to my AA meetings anymore. And it was starting to really dampen the quality of life I had. And I started tapping into CBD just a little bit. I was doing edibles and it was the first time. And I remember they were like working, but it was when I got to CBD flower that my world changed. So there was a restaurant in Nashville that the owner had a CBD company and his wife had given me a free pre-roll. First time I'd ever, you know, got my, like with my sobriety, I was like, can I smoke this? It looks like weed, you know? And the reality was a few days later, I gave in, I opened it up. I went on my back porch in Nashville and I smoked, and I will just never forget how good I felt. And so, and I do smoke a lot, which is why my throat is shot. I like to smoke a lot of CBD. And so when I realized, when I was becoming, you know, a more frequent user, and I started noticing my anxiety changing, I noticed my moods were more even, and I wasn't having so many kind of anxious moments. And I thought, wow, like there's so many people out there like me that don't know CBD works. So it became my mission to help people to find a natural solution to help. Unfortunately, it doesn't cure, but can eliminate a lot of anxious feelings, anxious thoughts, the physical aspect, the social anxiety, even stress, everyday stress. And then also, there's other factors it helps with insomnia. It helps with, mild pains and aches and stuff like that. Overall, it's just, I've had such an amazing experience, and my life has changed so much that honestly, I just wanted to change other lives, and I wanted other people to find relief that I did. And, so I was going after those people that could be in that same situation where they've been struggling and they just never tapped into it for whatever reason. So it became my mission to educate people on why it works and to get them to open the door to trying CBD.
I love that. I have a very similar experience with CBD. It's extremely helpful for day-to-day anxiety and stress levels and just managing my to-do list and getting through. And I'm always so amazed by how just, a little bowl in the morning, all of a sudden my to-do list is taken care of. I'm not sitting on the couch aimlessly scrolling through social media. It just makes me so much more functional.
Mm-hmm. It does. Honestly, I call it the magic plant. I do.
It really,
because and like, sure, it's like THC and cannabis is great. I'm not opposed. I work at a dispensary now. But I think there's just something magical about THC because it provides all the same properties as, cannabis, to that degree of not getting you stoned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, the flower, it's a beautiful anatomy, and I just think it's a magical plant.
Yeah. Yeah. I love sharing it with people who may have had a poor experience with THC.
Yes.
They don't like how it makes them feel, and they're not convinced that CBD is different until they try it.
Right. Yeah. I try to kindly push a lot of CBD products on people at work at the dispensary when I, started working just to get some more money towards business. But I love talking to people about CBD and getting them to open the doors to it. So it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is your professional background in before you came to CBD?
Oh, wow. All over. I'm a jack of all trades. I've done it all. God, a lot of administration work. I was in a lot of offices settings. I did corporate. I was with FedEx ground in operations for about 7 years. I tapped into a pharmacy, and I was a pharmacy tech for CVS for a while. I moved to Nashville. I got back into FedEx, and then I became a painter. So I was an interior painter, painting some big old houses in Franklin, Tennessee, and Nashville. And I've been an artist my whole life. And so I've always been an artist. I've done paintings for a while. I'm gonna wait for that to pass. So I did a lot of, I was an artist on the side for many years. And once I picked up the company and I was able to tap in, like designing the labels, we were able to tap into like, the creative design aspect. So I was able to still bring that artist in me to the table, but I've kind of done a little bit of everything. And then I tapped into working with a company that I won't name because I'm not too fond of them. It was not the greatest experience. But I tapped into the industry over 2 years ago in Nashville, and I designed the logo for the logo. And then I was writing their social media. And then that was where I started, kind of wheels started to turn, where I was like behind the scenes, really seeing how this company with these 4, guys operated. And I just, to be honest, I said, I see what you're doing and I could do what you're doing, but better. So low key, I'm not low key, some of, their, and it's not like, I wasn't stealing ideas. I mean, every company kind of goes through the same pattern of getting started, but yeah, so from there, I just, I branched out, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take everything I've done in the last 10 years, my life, my resume, I'm really great with people. And I just said, you know what, do this thing where you're not working for the man, you're not in a cubicle. It was a risk, but I was like, this is worth it, and I felt the calling come. So I've done a little of everything, really.
I love that. It's really kind of paved the path for you to be able to handle all the different parts that come with owning a business.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, some days I don't handle it great, but I do my best.
Yeah, ups and downs in every business, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you mentioned that your tea bottles are glass, and I know that we have spoken about this before offline. How does sustainability really factor into your business decisions?
Sustainability as far as the products or like environmentally friendly kind of?
Everything. How does every part of that play a role into how you're running this business?
Hmm. I'm trying to think specifically how to, like, I've thought through, I like I said, I am very particular on which
Mhm.
products that I do use. Um, I don't know because I'm not at a level where I'm in a warehouse and I have, and our budget's small, so I don't have as many options to, like, if we're talking about, going green and stuff like that with shipping, you
Mhm.
know, I try to keep things as minimal as I can as far as like, waste and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, I liked, the glass bottles were just, I wanted to go with that authentic kind of rustic vintage look that went along with like the Southern hemp and the Southern
Mhm.
lifestyle. So these were, I forgot, I think these are considered like a French style kind of bottling.
Okay.
And I just thought that it would go perfect kind of with that kind of vibe of kind of homey and rustic kind of look. But other sustainability, like, so what would be other examples on sustainability we're talking?
You talked a little bit about your product sourcing and where you get
Sure.
everything from. What was your
Yeah.
process in vetting those sources?
So one thing that I like, so one of the, so all our ingredients are going to be, they're all organic, USDA certified organic
Mhm.
herbs, and teas and flowers. One company that I use is huge on going green. And so I wanted to, so the companies that I chose to work with, it's kind of like when you support Southern Hemp Tea, you're also supporting a lot of other good practices in processing, bottling, manufacturing. So this company, they went like, I'm trying to remember, and I don't want to mention the name, but they're in Oregon, right? They're in Oregon, yeah. And like one thing that what I liked that they talked about is when they go to dispose of like any highlighters that they've used, they actually go in and they take out the tubing
Mhm.
and they process those two pieces separate. They do a lot of very, very green, environmentally friendly processes with their sourcing, and they don't like, they go through their waste at the end of the night and they kind of separate things. So that was just one cool thing as far as tapping into like environmentally friendly way to contribute to that, was that I loved hearing about how green that this company was, so I liked supporting that. um, and then I like supporting local companies, so supporting, like, when anytime you order bath bombs from Southern Hemp Tea, you're supporting a small local business in Nashville, Tennessee,
Mhm.
because that's just the two. It's a guy and a girl that own this company, husband and wife, and they hand make these lavender bombs, and they run farmers markets as well. And so just the cool thing is that, like, you're giving back to not only my company, but you're giving back to another small company and another business supporting my business.
Mhm.
So I've researched companies before I work with them because I want to support reputable, good companies.
Mhm.
So I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Went away. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you. I like that because as a consumer, there's not a lot of processing information that's really readily available. There's not a lot of systematized regulations for these kind of products. And,
Right.
if you roll into a gas station and buy CBD, you have no idea where it's coming from or what's in
No
it.
clue. Yeah. No, and so, and one other thing too is, like, for the loose leaf tea, I don't know how big of a difference it is. I know for the consumer, it's a big difference, but I do non-bleach tea bags.
Mm-hmm.
So the tea bags that we use are non-bleached and safe to use and ingest. Whereas, those tea bags that you can buy sitting in a box on a shelf in Jewel or Walgreens probably don't have that. So I try to really tap into natural and wholesome and local as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
Like one other company that I use is TGC Network, and they're based out of Colorado. So I get my soaps from them. And then I use another company for our flour right now, which is Prairie State Farms, and they grow their own hemp and they have tons of field. And I've grown a relationship with their owner, Sam, and I'm all about just like really supporting other good people in the industry. So I have relationships with everyone that I work with. I text them, it's not just emailing. Like I have a personal relationship where I can text these companies and they're like, hey, how's it going? And, it's a first name basis. So it takes a village. If you ask me, in the CBD industry, it takes a village. And a lot of us are extremely supportive of one another. And I've had nothing less than that in my journey to getting started, is that it's been amazing. And if it wasn't for all these other companies that have shown grace and hospitality towards mine, I don't know if it would have been as easy. So
absolutely, that community.
Yes.
So as you're in the industry, both, in your work as a dispensary and as a business owner, what's something that you see coming down the pipeline or as a trend or something that's changing that you're really excited about?
Guess what? You know what it is?
What is it?
Drinks.
CBD drinks.
It looked like, okay, so when I thought of this, I'm going to tell you, I knew that I hit a gold mine. I don't know, like, I knew that where I was going to be the future of products. And what's funny is that as I've low key in the back behind the scenes, I have been working on these bottles for like 6 months. And while I've been in my little, process, I've been seeing little by little drinks, tonics, infused drinks. I'm going to wait for this to pass maybe. Sorry about that.
All right.
And so I was seeing it. And then I really knew, okay, you're on the right path. And then when I got into a dispensary in the cannabis industry, guess what I'm seeing? Drinks, tonics. And I actually have these little infused, you get a 6-pack for $24, and they're by Canna, which is an Illinois cultivator. And they are kind of like seltzers, but like a little bit of a juice aspect. So not like a LaCroix, a little sweeter. 2 milligrams of THC, 4 milligrams of CBD, and they are fantastic.
Okay.
Cool little packaging. They have a resealable kind of like tab that you can open it and you can reseal it.
Oh.
So drinks are absolutely becoming a thing for sure in CBD and THC. So
yeah, absolutely. I feel like every time I get on LinkedIn now, which is where I get a lot of my cannabis industry news, somebody is talking about some new seltzer or tonic or some kind of new drink that you can use to consume rather than, smoking or eating something.
Yeah, and they're even coming out with, I'm going to say it never fails, like in the suburbs, like people are just always mowing their lawn. It doesn't matter. I swear to God, it's like all the time here in the suburbs, someone's always mowing their fucking lawn.
Yep.
Oh, anywho, they even have those little like those little squeeze juices that you can put in water now.
Really?
Yeah. Like, they have those flavored, like, I don't know what you call them. Just those little, like, you can just kind of drop them in, like, you squirt them in. They've even got those now for CBD and THC. And so it makes sense because we are living in a world, in a society of instant gratification. We want convenience. We want everything to be convenient. And that's just one way that you can take your drinks. And this is why I knew, because I'm a consumer. I'm absolutely a consumer as well. I buy a lot of shit all the time. I love shopping. So I knew that I was onto something with this. And so far, I mean, they've been, people at work are buying them from me. So even people that are high, heavy stoners, THC users from me, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. So on the opposite side of the spectrum, what's something that's going on in the industry right now that you are not a fan of and think needs to change?
Good question. The market is fucking saturated. Can I swear on this?
Yeah, go right ahead. I don't care.
The market is so saturated. And I'm going to tell you what's killing me right now. And I was just talking to Brian from TGC Network an hour ago. Instagram was a huge tunnel for a lot of small businesses, big businesses, especially in CBD, because Facebook prevents you from posting ads. And so we were, companies were trying to find ways to kind of promote and to get the word out. And right now, so I was able to gain a lot of traction through social media. They are shutting down posts left and right now. They are messing with the algorithm. And like Brian just said this morning, he's like, we just stopped. We moved to Leafly because Instagram is just kind of, and it's like, it's really dumb because CBD is legal in all 50 states. But it's like, oh, but we can run ads on, in America, it's like we can run ads on, prescriptions all day on your TV. Side effects include death.
Yeah.
But that's okay. But we're not going to let you try this natural, we're not going to let people promote like a natural wellness that doesn't have death as a side effect.
Yeah.
So America is, to me lately, it's kind of like, the way that they're trying to, I think, kind of controls consumers and consumer minds. Like, have you seen Social Dilemma? That's a real thing. That the documentary on Netflix. And so I think that's one thing, is that when it comes to social media networks and platforms like that, give us the green light to spread CBD. Like, stop trying to ruin Christmas. It's like, just let us have our trees and let us, be on our way, and let us share it with our friends. That's what social networking is about. It is about socializing and connecting. So that's one thing for me. And I think that and I will just quickly say, there are companies out there that are, they kind of saw a gold mine as far as the trend of CBD, and people are jumping in with any kind of product, and they're slapping the letters CBD on anything they can. And it's not a legitimate source of CBD. And there's a lot of companies out there that are giving people a bad experience on CBD. Like, if you go in vape shops right now and you see CBD flower, it's terrifying. It's brown. It's not it is not, in my, eyes and in the industry, it's not real CBD flower. But these vape shops are like selling this garbage in a jar. And it's like, so that's another thing too, that I wish that, and that's part of my goal, is that I go into vape shops now. And if I see this, first thing I ask the owner is, I say, do you guys actually sell this? Like, do people come in and actually buy this? And majority of them are like, eh. And it's like, okay, that's a problem. And I'm like, here's my card. I have fantastic Illinois, USA grown premium CBD flower that's green, smells fantastic. There's COAs provided, and it comes in at 19% CBD. You need to get rid of this, and I do that a lot. So I don't know if I'm talking too much about stuff, but there are definitely things in the industry that bother me. And I'm also on a mission to change the path and pave a new path for things that could be improved.
I love that. Brown CBD flower. What an aberration. That is not what it's supposed to look like.
It's not. And I see too much of it.
Plants don't grow brown. Oh my goodness.
You're doing it wrong if it's brown. Like,
what are you doing to it? My God.
my guess is, well, I don't know. I'm not an expert in growing, but either like a over cure, under cure, wrong temperature, too much sunlight.
Yeah, some kind of weird treatment during the curing process, some kind of chemicals
Yeah.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, anyone out there, if you see brown CBD flower, walk away. Walk
100.
over and type in southernhemptea.com and shop there. Like,
Yes, if you see brown CBD, that's not what it should look like.
right.
And maybe don't buy your CBD from gas stations either. Like, just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, it's not good there.
So I see a lot in the cannabis industry that there is a big grassroots push to make it a very diverse and inclusive industry. And I know that right now you're basically a company of one with this, but how do you see this push for diversity and inclusion playing out in the industry?
Do you mean between like separation of THC and CBD?
Sorry.
Or
For, I guess, with the people that are in the industry, you know, seeing women in positions of power in these companies, allowing minority communities who have been disproportionately impacted by the war on drugs back into this industry.
Totally.
Is that something you see as you're looking at sources, or is that something that you don't see a lot of opportunity for inclusion right now?
So real quick, is this too loud? Should I go inside? Because this guy's, he's got like 28 acres that he just keeps mowing over here. It never stops.
No, I can't hear anything on my end.
Okay, good. I think it's phenomenal. I think I love seeing women step into their fucking power. And I am a badass fucking woman also on that same agenda of like, we are not meant to just live in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. Women are incredible. And as far as diversity in different cultures and minorities, and it's just people owning their humanity. And like, it's not about race. It's not about sex. It's not about age. It's not about color. And I don't even have a college degree. So you got to make the most of, you know, it's kind of like you really have to really just find your strengths as a person in your whole life experience, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something, because where I am today is absolutely amazing. I was just talking about this yesterday, how far I've come in 14 months, let alone the 10 years that I've been sober. I was, you know, in the face of death at some points. You know, I was this guy is killing me. I'm gonna step inside. Can I do that?
Go right ahead.
Let me do that, because I picked a bad time to try to come.
There's always somebody mowing their lawn in suburbia.
There is. Okay. Oh, this is much better. So yeah, there's so many small businesses, and what I loved about Nashville was that it was all about supporting local businesses and supporting local goods, local products.
Hello there.
Yeah, hi, thanks. And I just think it's great because here's the thing, consumers come in all different shapes and sizes, all different colors. So seeing that it's not just, you know, how do I say this? Seeing that it's not just one group of people that is capable, you know, it's not just the white man, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there are more, that I forget the percentage, but I mean, the amount of female CEOs in America right now is astounding, mm-hmm. you know? And I think that it's becoming more and more acceptable. There's still a little push, I think, on women running businesses, but screw you. We are entirely capable. And we have a fire that women have a kind of fire that I don't think men have. I think there's just this different approach to life that we have, and it could come from the fact that we're born, you know, nurturers. And I don't know, we just have this kind of, I think women are superheroes. And so all I can say is like, you know, pussy power, all about the women, like step into your fucking power, own it, go for it. Don't let your past define you. Like if I let my past define me, and, you know, as a recovering drug addict and alcoholic, you know, if you told me 10 years ago that I would be sitting on a CBD company that I started with $500 in my pocket, and now next month I'm going to Vegas to an 8,000 person expo showcasing these products, I would have doubted every word out of your mouth, but here I am. Mm-hmm. So also I just, you know, it's just like, we're all capable. And so I think that diversity and equality is such a big thing in our society. And I think that's important because if you're here, you know, it's like, we have to be united. We have to support one another. We're all on the same planet. We're all in the same country. We're in the same states and same cities. Like, we have to get through this life thing together. And if someone comes in, no matter what sex, color, race, religion you are, if you're coming in with a mission to provide an amazing product to people, let them do it, you know?
Absolutely. So. Yeah, I feel like there's almost this divide in the industry right now, because you have the white men who saw a gold mine and came in, and they're just kind of pumping this product out there without any regard for the quality or the process or the medicinal aspects of it, you know, the chads of the industry. And then you have this other half that is all about a beautiful myriad of diversity and inclusion centered around this really amazing product. And they care more about what it does for people over, you know, making $1 million in their first year. Oh, I think you're frozen.
There you are. Okay. All right.
There we go. Technical difficulties. Gotta love technology.
Yeah, you know, it's all right. It does what it wants, but we're here for it.
Yep.
What were you saying? Oh yeah, just pumping out products without understanding. Yeah, you know, there's companies out there that that could care less if there's medicinal properties. They just want those 3 letters on their product to say this is a CBD product.
Yeah.
And there's so much work just from the seed, the strain, where you're growing, how you're taking care of it, what are you using as far as like pesticides or nutrients and stuff. And then it's, you know, then the curing process, and then you have the trimming process, and you have the packaging process. Like a lot of these buds that I see in vape stores, like it's leaves, you know, there's no. And I mean, and it's not like that's not medicinal, but as far as providing a really nice, clean example of like CBD flower per se, there's companies out there that aren't doing it justice. And, you know, percentages, I don't know about, you know, I know that I try to stick between 16 and 19% flower. And I guess that just varies with strain, but yeah, no, back to what you were saying. I mean, it's just, there's companies out there not doing it justice for sure.
Yeah. And that's why it's so important to have people like you in the industry who so fiercely care about the quality of the product and therefore the quality of experience that your customer has.
Totally. Absolutely.
So since you started this company, I know it's been a whirlwind 14 months. What are you most proud of?
Honestly, one thing that I really do love and I'm proud of is the website and the web store. I put a lot of time in working with, what was her name? Maggie Chain. She built, the custom website, and then I also worked with another company, to do some updates as well, but I really love the website that I built. I spent a lot of time doing photo shoots and getting really nice quality photos, to showcase myself, my story, and the products. And I really like putting effort into content on Instagram. I like to be able to get really quality photos so people can see, like, what you see is what you get. Like, I'm not filtering this. I'm not altering like saturation to make things look like I put out a very genuine, like unfiltered product where I'm not trying to showcase or sell you on some lies just so you buy this product. So I'm proud of a lot of things. I'm really proud of the way these bottles turned out. I think that they're fantastic. I've gotten so many kudos, and just people like love these. These are phenomenal. And there's still more work to do with them. But I would say between those two things, I mean, and the teas taste fantastic.
They do. I'm drinking one right now.
There you go. Yes.
They
So
do.
I'm guessing you have Take Me Home.
I do. Yes, I'm absolutely loving it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got such a nice earthy quality, but you get to taste the variety of herbs that are in it. CBD doesn't take over the flavor palette. It complements what else is in there.
Yeah. So you can taste it, right? Because that's the
Oh, yeah.
goal.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
That is my goal. Is I wanted, and I thoroughly thought when I made these recipes for every blend, I mean, I thoroughly thought it through and really managed the dosing for every ingredient per blend to make sure neither overpowered the other. So I think one thing that, as someone that knew nothing about tea 15 months ago, nothing. I mean, I drank tea. I've been a Teavana and whatnot, but I love the way that I created these blends in a way that, in Take Me Home, there's like 6 to 7 different ingredients. And I love the way that they play together. You can really, I think that you can taste them individually, yet wholly together. And I think it's a really nice, subtle, earthy flavor. That was my goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you take a sip of this and you're like, oh, there is a cannabis product in this tea. You absolutely taste it, but it's
Good.
not the only thing that you taste either.
Right. Good.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it. Big fan.
Good.
So this can be either in your business or personally, but what are you most proud of overcoming to get to where you are today?
My addiction, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I didn't get an intervention. No one put me in rehab. I woke up December 8th, 2010. I called out of work because I was still drunk from the previous night. That was a pattern in my life. And over kind of the last 3 to 4 years, my career as an alcoholic really escalated to a point where I was blacking out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
As an artist, I was doing these paintings and I was, pursuing a passion. And then I would come home drunk. And like one night, like I put my foot through one of the canvases that I did in a blackout. And so it was really sad to see myself kind of at such a young age. I got sober at 24, and to see myself at 22 years old, just barely 21, already forming, alcoholism and addiction with, substances. The fact that I was able to stick out, because the hard part was not getting sober. It's been staying sober. I was ready to give up drinking and drugs. So that was easy because I wanted to stop. And the fact that I started, showing up to AA meetings on my own accord and taking responsibility and making that choice, I've made that choice 365 days times 10. Every day I've woken up and made the choice to stay sober, and that is incredible. So I'm really proud of that.
It absolutely is incredible. That is not an easy choice to make every single day of your life. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
And what a place to be now, 10 years later, with this substance that is not addictive, that does not have these myriad of negative side effects, and actually elevates you and your mood and, whatever you're going through in that day.
It is. And what's funny, and I joke about this, like, it was funny enough that I kind of tapped into like the CBD industry, which, CBD isn't, how do I say it? I mean, it's not as like strong as marijuana. It's not like, people are out here slanging CBD like they are weed on the streets, right? But what was so funny was when I started working in a dispensary, selling drugs, we joke and call them drugs, like selling drugs legally in the state of Illinois. And like 10 years ago, I mean, there was a point where I was like low key drug dealing, And it's just so funny. Like, you just never know where life's going to take you. And it's so ironic because I love my job. And even though I don't like smoke weed, I love being able to talk about different strains and different products for people, because we get patients. And my job as a cannabis consultant is so important to understand what kind of high and feeling these people are looking for. So I take a lot of pride in learning that there's more to weed than just getting high. To be honest, I don't even like calling it weed. The way I see it, I mean, it's cannabis. I see it as a medicine, as opposed to just like, weed. I feel like when you hear weed, you just think about kind of, I don't know, there's just that element of like, yeah, weed, we're getting high, we're getting stoned, but there's more to it. There's terpenes, there's harvest, there's percentages, there's all different cannabinoids in there. And so it is just interesting that I went from a complete huge stoner back in the day, also an alcoholic, to here I am 10 years later, sober, selling cannabis legally to people that need it for medicine. So
absolutely. I mean, you must be so interested in the cannabinoid blends in these strains, the different CBD to THC percentages and how it affects people too.
Yeah, it is. And it's really cool. And of course, I love turning people on to CBD. Like every now, I'd say 1 out of 12, 1 out of 13 people come in, and I ask them, like, how are you with CBD? Do you want a 1-to-1? And 1 out of 15, they're like, no CBD. I don't want that. And then I get that little moment of like, all right, let me talk to you about CBD before you make that decision. And I'm able to educate them with my own experience and the science behind, like, and then I throw out the endocannabinoid system, and they're like, what is that? And so my dog in. I think that we talk a lot about the ECS at work, and I love to talk about cannabinoids, because most people that come in, I would say a good portion of people that come in, and realistically the ones that come in just to kind of get high, they just want to get high, and that's cool. You could be a giant stoner, whatever your thing is. I love pulling out our little cannabis kind of 101 booklet and explaining to them why terpenes matter, how terpenes separate indica and sativa, and all that. And so I get really scientific when I start talking to my patients and stuff. And it is cool. The more cannabinoids you have in a flower or product, they're going to work together. And so you get more of a beneficial medicinal kind of experience. So
absolutely. That leads perfectly into my next question, which is, when somebody comes in and talks to you, what kind of experience do you want them to have? What do you want them to take away from an experience learning about cannabis with you?
I want them to feel so comfortable. I want them, and I'll tell you, as I'm getting more confident in the products, I have to say, like, people, I had a few girls come in yesterday, 3 girls were coming in, they were heading to Lollapalooza, and they wanted a little care pack to go to have a good time. And by the time I was done with them, they were like, one of the girls was like, I'm from Florida. And she's like, you have been so helpful. She's like, when we go to dispensaries in Florida, they're just like, next, just calling people over. And like, you don't get the iPad experience where our customers get to look at the menu by themselves. We go through every strain. We talk about the feelings, the smells, the aromas, the terpenes. And she was just like, you have been so amazing. Like, thank you. And they all were just so floored about how helpful I was. That made my day. That I knew that I gave them a full variety of, like, you guys can get these gummies, and let's say this is a 1-to-1. So you're going to have that like nice start to your day. But let's say you're kind of feeling good, and like, you're out in the summer, they grabbed a tonic. So they had a 100-milligram tonic. So I'm like, when y'all get thirsty and you want to kind of keep that going, go ahead and tap into that tonic. And then like maybe towards the end of the night, like I got him a little chillum, which is like a 0.3 gram pre-packed chillum. And I'm like, and then you got this little. So I like to create a little package based off of what they are doing with their cannabis. And I want to make an experience where they, it's not like, oh, here, just take a bunch of gummies and try to sleep. There's so much more to the regimen of how to what is the word, not induce, to consume. the way that you consume, there's so many different varieties these days. You've got wax, you have sugar, you have dabs, you have drinks, you have flour, you have chillums, you have pre-rolls, you have everything, you know. You got Rice Krispie treats infused with cannabis. So it's really fun. I like people to walk away feeling confident that when they go home, they're going to know how to use their product. They're going to know what to expect from it. And it's something that is going to work for them. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of times people go into dispensaries expecting that their bud tenders are going to be knowledgeable, and it can be very jarring when they're not knowledgeable or they're not super helpful, and they're just like, "What do you want?" Like, I don't know. This has been illegal for 50 years. What do I want?
Right. Totally.
It makes
Yeah, I think
it breaks it.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch back to like, so you do a lot of dispensaries, or where do you pick up your cannabis?
So typically for my CBD, I'll go to CBD dispensaries around here. I live in New York, so unfortunately we don't have THC dispensaries yet. I've gone to some in legal states. I went up to Toronto and I had a fantastic experience at a dispensary because you walked in and they said, "All right, here's your assigned bud tender. Let them know when you need something." And then the store was geared so that each level you were on, you got higher and higher. So the bottom
Wow.
the top was all THC and the middle was a blend. And
That's amazing.
it was like this curated, almost like Apple Store experience. And I was like, this is incredible. Like all my questions, I feel so comfortable asking.
That's so amazing. I love that.
It was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the way I see it is that I want cannabis to be an experience. I want it to be an experience where you're appreciating cannabis for what it is and what it can be and what it does for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a miracle.
It is.
So I've asked you what you see as a big trend, which you said drinks, but how do you see, or where do you see the future of this industry as a whole going?
My first thought is like COVID. Like things got a little screwed up with COVID. Like I don't know if I would have been able to get into a brick and mortar as soon as, that's my end goal. And I don't know if you're going to ask that at some point. My goal is to end up at a brick and mortar. I want to sip and smoke shop where you're going to have tea and you can smoke. And you're going to have a buffet. So like, and you're going to have a buffet of like, when you go into 31 flavors, right? And you have that giant, like kind of glass in front of you and it's got all those different ice creams and you just pick and choose. So I want to have like a buffet of all the different tea options and different ingredients. And then on the other side, you're going to have all different strains and you can literally pick and choose what kind of tea you want. Anywho, going back, ADD. So I think COVID kind of dampened people's operations for a little bit. So I think some people are still catching up. I know that when I was trying to get in some retailers in the last few months, they were like, well, we're still sitting on a lot of product. We're not taking anything new. That's because of COVID. I'm kind of curious to see where things go. I think that there's totally people out there getting extremely creative with products, but then also the market is going to put out what consumers want. Mm-hmm. So I'm always, and that's how I specifically choose what to add and what not to add to Southern Hemp's menu. And as far as our products, I'm not going to add something just because I want people to use it. I'm going to, actually, perfect example, I'm going to show you these guys. Sneak peek. So this is a CBD Bath Bomb. And these are actually from Prairie Hemp in Illinois. Mm-hmm. They smell amazing. These are made with 125 milligrams of CBD. I'm guessing it's oil, maybe isolate. I'm not sure. But I've been hesitant to add something like this because I'm still trying to observe how people are with baths, how are consumers doing, is it something people want? Mm-hmm. So I have scaled with demand. That's how I've built my that's kind of been my model is when I see the demand go up for something, I'm like, yep, we're keeping this. People like this. They want it. They're happy with it. Mm-hmm. And I will gear away if I've got a product that's not really moving and people aren't buying it as much. I'm like, all right, I want something that is relevant and relatable and provides people with a need. So I think that smart business is kind of doing that as well. So I don't know where we're going to end up. You know, I know that, I know my goal is just to nail these teas out across the US, and just get them out in every retail, every fridge, every shelf. I think they're going to do great. So I'm kind of like, I don't really care what anyone else does right now, because I'm about to go out there and kill it with these. So y'all can do whatever, you know, like I'm really set on like getting a really high quality product out there in the next few months. So that's my goal.
Absolutely. And now I have to hear more about this brick and mortar shop idea. So what is the future of your company?
Ooh, all right. So totally rustic vibe, right? So I want the inside to be like, I forget how you call it, like exposed brick, right? So I've had this whole vision. I want like this kind of second level, not like a full level, but like a little bit of a stoop area where you're gonna have like nice big like velvet reading chairs with like some coffee tables, tea tables. And I want a lot of kind of interior like design. I want to have a lot of posters that are going to talk about the anatomy. I want people to understand how natural CBD is. Mm-hmm. CBD was not like man-made, you know, like it's not this fabricated trend that someone came up with. It's been here for hundreds and hundreds of years. So like, I like the idea of really showcasing the true natural earthiness of where CBD cannabidiol comes from. And then I don't know where Illinois is going to be. I was also planning on being in Nashville when I did this. So I would love to have like a sip and smoke shop so people can come in. You're going to get your nice little kind of classic, like little teacup and your little saucer, and you're going to come up and you're going to pick and choose what flavors. Do you want caffeine? How high do you want your strain? Do you want a citrusy strain? And your, you know, I guess it would be more of your Terista. I don't know if that's a thing. You're going to have your, you know, your person making that blend for you. You get to customize it. You could do it hot, or we could do it ice for you. And then also just going to have a little shop where you can get more products, like a bud section, nice jars. You can see through everything. People who just kind of come in and just, you know, I kind of wanted to kind of be reflective of like the Amsterdam kind of lifestyle. So I just want it to be super, super open, you know, and just very, I want people to come in and just smile as soon as they walk into our store, knowing that they're about to get a really happy little cup of tea. So, and they sit back and they could smoke on their joints, and you know, we could have people walking around like, do you need another one? Lighters, you know, just like really kind of, oh, sorry.
All right.
I had a call come in, like a really kind of upscale, kind of like a classy, but also like low key feel to it. So
you can count me in when you open that. That sounds incredible.
Yes, like I'm stoked. You know, we'll have treats, you know, like, you know, CBD infused brownies or some vegan donuts in there. Just all the, like, I really, I think it's about, what's the word? I just lost it. Working to the consumer's needs. So like, what do people really love? What makes people happy? Whatever those things are, I want them in my store. I want people to just come in and be like, everything that makes me happy, I can get at this Southern Hemp Tea store. Yeah.
So you are clearly very well versed in CBD, in the ECS, and all of these, this very science heavy aspect of it. So what is your favorite fun fact about CBD?
Ooh, so my favorite fun fact, and I will tell you this. So I had my mind kind of blown. There is a woman, and I would love for people to watch this. It was a TED Talk, and I can't remember. It was a female doctor. Okay. She did a TED Talk on the endocannabinoid system. It was life-changing for me. I thought that I knew all there was to kind of understand about what CBD was. And she just opened up a fucking can of whoop ass on me. the one thing that I love the way that she is able to use layman terms to explain to people how things work. So the endocannabinoid system we are born with. It's natural. We all have it. It's free. It's just like the digestive system, any other system you have, along with your nervous system. The one coolest thing that I learned and understood was that cannabinoids can build up in your system, right? Your ECS works with your nervous system and helps regulate your nervous system. And the ways that she described it, she threw in this visual where she threw in a visual about how your body reacts to stress. Mm-hmm. And cannabinoids will help manage that stress, but we only kind of produce a certain amount. And let's just say in 2021, we have so much going on. We have way more than the modern man did as far as stressors. So what our bodies were kind of initially designed for, as far as like how much, we need of cannabinoids, we have skyrocketed in my kind of opinion, right? We've got so many distractions and Zoom calls and emails, texts, and all this stuff going on, that our generation, I think, and whether it's THC or CBD, we need extra cannabinoids to fill that system to match the level of stress we are experiencing these days. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of how I took away from her TED Talk. And that made so much sense to me. And that was life-changing for me. And so that's one thing that is so fascinating. And I would love for people to really get their hands on and to understand.
I love that you brought up the endocannabinoid system, because it is my current obsession. It just blows my mind that we have this entire system in our bodies made to interact with cannabinoids that nobody has ever heard of.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, all right, so if you're currently in your obsession, what is your favorite fact or aspect of the ECS?
I love explaining to people how THC and CBD interact with different receptors in your ECS. So if you don't like THC because you don't like the effects on your body, CBD is not going to do the same thing because they interact with totally different receptors. And CBD is an antagonist for the receptor that THC binds with. So you can know that you're not going to get those heart palpitations. You're not going to get that anxiety, that paranoia, that franticness that some people get from THC. I love sharing that with people who have never tried CBD, because they kind of go, oh, huh.
I really, maybe somewhere in my mind, like I kind of knew that, but not to the degree you just explained it. So that is really cool to know.
It's this whole system in our body that is made to interact with these cannabinoids, made to process them and help us regulate our homeostasis. I mean, it's just incredible what this can do for our health.
I know. I love, and I love, look, and I love that you are out there doing your thing. I love that we're getting the word out to the people right now. And I love that, you're out there advocating for this plant and both plants. And so thank you for being there, being you, doing your thing. So important, especially, when it comes to education, educating people is so crucial to understanding cannabis and CBD. So
there's been decades of propaganda and misinformation that have been spread, and so many people don't know how much this plant can actually help them and what it can do for them.
I know.
It's crazy. I love that we're out here. You got to talk about it. You got to share your experience with people, because otherwise nothing's going to change.
Yeah. And I think, and I'll just say too, is like, I think that the key word is your experience. People are more likely to, per se, believe a personal experience rather than some fact you read in a book. People can relate. And I am such an open person. And I mean, I don't know you well enough, but like, I'm so open that, I'll share how bad my anxiety and my panic attacks were. I'll share with you how different I felt as soon as I put CBD in my body, and how it's and really create that timeline for people to understand what it does in a human being, and how it really can change, I don't know if it's chemistry but like you just said, the homeostasis, like it really can just kind of work inside the human body so nicely.
Yeah, it's crazy that I didn't know about this system. I didn't know anything that it did. And the first couple of times I started to get high, I was like, wow, I feel really calm. Like, this is great. And it took like a year of using cannabis to go, oh, I have anxiety normally. And that's why cannabis makes me feel calm, because it's helping me deal with that and work through
Right.
it and come down from that edge. Like, this isn't actually a normal way to feel. That is anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It was crazy.
it is. It's so cool.
So, for somebody who's trying CBD for the first time, what advice do you have for them?
Most important thing, dosage, dosage, dosage. There are companies out there currently selling ground coffee grounds with 4 milligrams of CBD per cup. I don't, right? Nothing you get, yes. And I'm just like, that hurts me. You are ruining and misleading people so poorly. Maybe maybe the CBD and whatever you're using, that might be very good quality, but no one's going to feel 4 milligrams.
No, especially not with coffee, not with the caffeine mixed in.
No, you're not going to, no. So the main thing, so when I get a lot of people that come into the dispensary and they say CBD didn't work for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a, little checklist of questions. And my first question is, what kind did you use and how many milligrams did you take? If you tell me you took, less than 15 milligrams, I'm going to jump into the conversation about you need, in my opinion, 25 minimum to really experience the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me, because there are edibles and gummies that are like 10 milligrams and so forth. Yeah, you can feel 10 milligrams, but the thing is too, is you want it to build up in your system.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is my outlook on kind of like that TED talk, is that if you consume, let's say 10 milligrams let's say we get off this call, I consume 10 milligrams, right? That'll have me feeling good for maybe an hour or two, but then it's going to be depleted and it's going to go back down to its default setting of cannabinoids. You need to constantly replenish your system so that it is full with those cannabinoids, so it can interact and keep your body like functional and keep that stress and anxiety down.
Mm-hmm.
So my biggest thing is dosage. Like, are you taking enough to actually reap the benefits,
Mm-hmm. Do you find that people who come in and say it doesn't work for them, do you find there's any overlap with people who are heavy THC users and might have primed their ECS too much right now to feel CBD?
That is possible. I know as far as I know, that is a very real thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you've, when your system's used to, and this you would know more about, so I might be talking on my ass, but if your system is used to getting this extremely very powerful cannabinoid, THC, tetrahydrocannabidiol, if you are used to that, the way that I understand it is that CBD doesn't really have those kind of potent psychoactive properties that are going to give you that punch like THC. So when you're used to getting that like wabam, and then you put in this subtle little like this little cannabinoid in there, your CBD is not about what you feel, it's about what you don't feel.
Mm-hmm.
THC is absolutely about what you feel. So they're very opposites in that regard, is that you're not going to go up, or you're not going to couch lock with CBD.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to notice your shoulders drop, your mind is quiet, your body's relaxed, some of your aches are gone, you're calm. That's a pretty general feel that you will get from CBD, or lack of.
I love that you said that. I shared CBD with a friend a couple weeks ago, and she's like, I don't really know about this. I don't like THC. And I was like, well, it's not. So just try it. Let me know what you think. And after we were done smoking a joint, she said, wow, CBD makes me feel the way I wish my brain made me feel on a normal basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, I take it to feel normal,
Yeah.
but I'm prone with anxiety, that's just the cards I was dealt. So, in whatever scientific way and biological way that works, I'm someone that my body is so much happier and at peace when it's loaded with CBD. My anxiety is minimal. My stress is manageable. So it's just, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, you really can't approach CBD and THC the same way because the effects that you feel are so different.
Yeah, and 2 milligrams of THC is way different than 2 milligrams of CBD.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, and I'll tell you, I'm going to show you these real quick. So these are the cans now that I'm inside. If I could have shipped these, I would send you a whole bunch, but I got these amazing cans that I was telling you about, the THC and CBD drinks. So these are them.
Yes, I've heard of them.
So they are, as you see, so it's 2 milligrams of THC, 4 milligrams of CBD.
Yes.
And low key, I have tapped into some of these. And the way that I would describe this, when you have that kind of little balance of THC and CBD, was I felt the CBD in my head, but the THC in my body. So like, I didn't feel high, but I was just kind of happy. My body was calm and I just felt happy. But so again, yeah, like 2 milligrams of THC is a lot more potent than 2 milligrams of CBD.
Oh, I'm so jealous you have those. They don't ship to New York right now.
So like I low key, I'm just went up. Like I just haven't, we haven't had a lot of orders lately, but one thing I wanted to start doing was shipping these out with every order. Cause I got a whole bunch of samples from work, but because it's THC, I didn't want, the chance that, that someone opened that package, I was like, is it worth it? Speaking of, cheers. So here's these are the cool little sliding resealable tops that I was telling you about. What they're just, so like you pull this back and then I don't know if you can see without me spilling, and then you can slide it forward and pull it back and close it when you've had your sips and you just want to put it away or bring it in the car. So I think going back to that whole where are we headed? I think we're headed to convenience and on the go. You don't need to sit and have a whole session, and smoking sessions can take time. And then you're walking around smelling like reefer marijuana. Your eyes are fucking glossed over. And these will give you a little bit of a glassy eye too, but yeah, so yeah, I just wanted to show these off. These are pretty cool.
They are.
Cheers.
And I think you're 100% right. The future of it is convenience because there are so many people who don't want to roll a joint, who don't want to light up, who don't like or can't smoke for whatever reason. So
right.
all these options just open up and make cannabis so much more accessible to such a lot of people.
Yeah. And I think the key, and I think the main thing that I hope that we're working to create together right now is accessibility. Comfortability and accessibility. People like know what's out there, know this is good for you, know how much to take, know when to take it, and find somewhere where you can pick it up. And if no one knows where to get your CBD products, go to www.southernhemptea.com and shop.
Absolutely. I can vouch for the teas. They're quick, they're fantastic, and they're effective. You don't have to sit down and roll a joint to start to feel better.
Yeah. Good.
Well, awesome. This has been